What's that trick or advice you know, and you realize the rest of the players Genshin Impact don't use?
Serious?
It happens to me continuously that in stream I execute or explain things, and still today. Despite taking for granted that there is a lot of knowledge that Genshin players have or should have after so many years and content in the game, there is always someone who says, "Oh well, that's what you're explaining, sir, I didn't know." So today, based on all this, and especially on things that are going to help a lot to your accounts, whether you have arrived at NATLAN or are mid-early players. As if you're old but still don't know Genshin at 500%, today we're going to see 30 advanced tips that you need to know if you play Genshin Impact, and that they will incredibly improve your experience. So leave a good like, a good Bennett last. Subscribe, leave a good comment. To be late for enjoying and watching video, the channel thanks for all the love and support. Remember that it doesn't cost you anything, it's totally free, recommends and positions the video, makes us grow a lot. The entire channel team is very grateful and just. That's why I can give you one sale a day. Remember to watch the previous videos that you haven't seen and looked at the fixed ones that I'm going there warning who's always winning. With a few days of margin, and the more you interact with all the content and videos of the channel. And from the secondary channel, you have more chances. So make the most of it if you're eating. Welcome to invite you to the directs. Let me.
Okay.
The comments you make while watching the video, or that you are eating while you watch the video. Thank you for all of this, and let's go with these 30 advanced tips. Well, first of all, keep in mind that disclaimer, there are no disclaimers in this video. That's all. Super useful things I've been collecting for a long time to be able to make a video. Incredible, and I'm gonna be dropping everything like shrapnel. I'm gonna try to stop in some things I know that not everyone can understand or take for granted, because sometimes you tell me in the comments, Mr. Phil, you speak in Chinese. It's one more proof of what is the ugly Hoyover says, and not that he speaks in Chinese, is that sometimes after 4 years of play, as there are terms and concepts that most Genshin players do know, names of the teams, names that refer to some particular mechanics. But this time, I'm gonna stop and explain everything. Well, tip number 1, and we start easy, that is, the video is going to start with tips. Easy until later, and I'm going to leave the best, the most incredible, and the least you expect. That'll go to the end. Look on the map, here the editors have put it. Remember that this is very important, and that every day you're practically going to spend 5 concentrated resins, and you're going to spend 5 butterflies a day, and obviously the item's theme is to condense things. To condense. Otras class. That is, butterflies is not enough because it is 15 weekly, and if the day you have 7, if you have 7 days a week and you spend 5 days a day, that's not enough. Second, Zayu Aloe and Lanyang help you hunt butterflies because they don't fly. I'm sure some of them knew and some of them didn't, but we started soft, as I said. Third, remember to do the transmutator, this item here. I'm sure now, while you're watching this video, some of you are saying it's true and going to get it out. It's a once a week. It doesn't cost you almost material if you put it in the herb and give with a Mekeito, a Bennett, an elemental to the ground, jumps burn on the grass, and suddenly this stuffs itself. Make the transmutator because it's going to save you resin, it's going to give you material passively. To me, it happens both in the main account and in the secondary. For an event, for whatever it is, and I have material to upload what I want, because for so many, I've passively accumulated a lot of materials. Next, to use the trap for crystallators. It is true that I have commented before, but do -15 crystallators a week saves you 3 days of having to go for butterflies. Anyway, here's a paragraph. There's a lot of people who have an absurd amount of butterflies. Because as in Genshin, there are many times nothing to do. There are people who is going around hunting butterflies, literally. So let me in the comments how much of butterflies you have. I don't usually have many. Next, the weekly teapot moon, remember. Not only to enter the teapot and other things that I will comment on later, but that there is a moon. Weekly teapot, and you can't believe how many people every Monday that I go into the teapot and I take out live the teapot moon to use it. You can't believe the amount. What do you mean? There was a moon in the ugly way that nobody plays. It's the developer mode. You're creating scenarios for the new nations. Has enough to offer, not that you are going to make houses and castles. That is already a little. Of fun, has important things to offer like a weekly moon. Next, assets. If you enter the teapot, you can buy some scrolls that are these that you see on screen. That will allow you to make sets. I will review it very quickly. I have said in many videos, but basically put quality of life into the sets and these scrolls that you buy in the buy. Gaudy store will allow you to use certain cabinets and furniture and things to craft and once have the whole done that it is very easy to find and with the quality of life even more all. Materials to make the set inside, put the characters of Genshin, who is asking you from your EO count, and there are currently like 2 or 3 complete multis in the set, so if you haven't made to go do them because many new people surely have no idea about this. There are proto-games in the teapot sets. Next, use the resonance rock of asses. Basically, if you're still missing some dendroculus, some hydrocles and hydrocles, but you know that in the canal we say hydroculo joke pyroculus, electroculos, and so the rest not animaculo and geoculo. Basically, there is a rock of resonance that knew many times as I personally do not follow interactive maps and others use it, and there are people. You're the CEO, you do weird things. I think a lot of you saw this video, and you'll say, well, I know what it is, but many others don't, and I'll be helping a lot of people who are half new. If in any particular area you still lack one to max out the statue, for example. Mondstadt, Liyue, Inazuma, Sumeru, Fontaine, or some area that is already complete. Less NATLAN. NATLAN is not yet complete. Remember that with this item you get in the shitya. And synthesized on the table, to synthesize directly will mark you where it is. And you can go find her to get 100% of Mondstadt's asses. Well, Tivat's asses. The next to use the compass searcher. The compass not only increases also the quality. Life now tells you how high the chest is and marks it on the map. But it's happened to me. I'm constantly going around doing anything for the map and event and so on and so on. I give the compass that I always have it equipped, and it appears wild out there. Coffer. Because remember that even if you have 100%, you do not have all the coffers of the area and there. There's an interactive map. I don't use it personally. I don't like it. I think it makes me wasting time, and in my opinion, and my way of exploring, maybe I don't have so much fun, but I know that many first-hand players use the interactive map, and it usually helps you a lot to leave in comments how many people if you use it and how many do not use it and think a bit like, but to maximize the proto-bams or to mark everything. And that you leave nothing, the interactive map helps a lot following advice. And here we enter the where everything is already quite more interesting, intense help a lot more, and it's going to put everything. It's not funny if you're free to play. This is something you don't throw away for the 4 stars or for the guns. Sometimes I say over every time there's a banner I get hundreds and thousands of comments saying, ah, and I threw in the Emcha. Nor did a constellation of Alecchino come out that I did not want or as already had Alecchino. I threw in the Aj or put in the Clorindo, and I got a Clorinde that I didn't want and the weapon's worse. I still basically tell you the equivalent of weapons so that you realize how useless it is when your account is free to play. If you spend a little bit, maybe the guns could be accessible, but even this is going to make people who spend bendy pass think and some packs. The weapons were part of the aesthetics and how pretty they are for the character in particular they bring you. According to the punctual character, between 5 and maximum 15% more than it can provide you. Another 5-star weapon you have on your account or some 4-star weapon with refinements. One gun costs the same as one character and good, there's a chance you'll get the other one. Bana gun maybe give you 2 guns in one in about 150 wishes and you can get it. To make up for whether both weapons serve you normally do not usually serve in the accounts. The 2 arms of the banner, the reality is that in exchange for that between 5 and 15% extra that you go to improve a character rents you much more to take a character for the same amount of desires. And a character versus a weapon that only adds between 5 and 15% more damage is an experience. Even a new team that you can put together is a complete character that can enable you more versatility plus equipment plus hours of testing fun, and as I say, tests to even find new ways to have fun, but here comes the best or the worst according to the class. As a person you're armed with, it's that between 5 and 15% you can improve on your character. Concrete only if you are lucky and you get a better artifact, i.e. weapons especially for. Free-to-play accounts are the biggest trap in history and throw by the 4 stars as well. Next, do the events that you will say end, but do the events I also do the events. You really don't know the number of events that have exclusive weapons that people don't stop. Ask for them that they are very good and that you will never be able to get the gun back. Albedo is a weapon that people mostly but albedo ask for continuously and not. They'll be able to get back to the use of Cinarbrio. Chevrois's weapon? This weapon is on screen, is a better version of Fontaine's Forge weapon, and is the best weapon for many Chevrois. And a lot of you maybe didn't play Fontaine or you abandoned him because he was a little F game until Natal, and neither can you have it, or even Tuna the definitive fish this weapon. It's not that it's the best thing in the world either, but it's really fun, and a lot of people every time that in some video is mentioned or taught people put me the comments and that piece of the fish how you get because you can no longer get it because it is a weapon that went from event, and this is going to continue to happen in addition to exclusive pet anniversaries that as long as the streamers, we take them. For example, when I carry these pets from here, some anniversaries always people asks me how they get, and also wings and so on around here is all cosmetic and weapons. It's not cosmetic weapons help. But do the events because you're going to lose a lot of things. And don't leave the whole event for the last day if I talk to you that you leave all the last day and then if that comes in, if you try to make a bad run for it, and the good guy pulls it out of it. Protogemas for the next character, but the event doesn't matter to me that more and more you're going to. Generate rejection for the next game, there are 5-star weapons for free, like 5-star weapons. I check, and above all players early mid don't have this refined weapon because I understand that it gives them laziness to fish, or because it's been long since in Azuma and for whatever reason they haven't gone to get this. B, technically 4 stars. Gives you a 5-star contribution and regulate 2 things. 1, if you have the Toma, even if it is level 1 to use it because it will give you a 25% chance of having twice as many fish. And save time to get out of catch 2, join the disc or link below the description and ask. Who opens worlds to be able to rusate in a single day the catch, and you already have it R5, and you can use for a lot of characters following achievements currently, and a total of 1450 mud. Some comments will tell me fill or 1452, and it is expected that the 5.4 will go too. Unlock more and there will be about 1480 and peak 1490 achievements. This I explain because many people will come to you. Well, get Protogemas because many will see the achievements, and there are them because I have 800 nothing more than more. You know that you have at least 1 multi or 2 extra there, so you can pull out the achievements, and that there are many pages also where it appears as a checklist of achievements so that you can facilitate how they are made and also explain how, when, where, and why they are made, and local legends. NATLAN also gives us many achievements and many protogems following prototypes as long as they're. Creators talk about prototypes of forging to take weapons out of the forging that can come very well. For the characters of Genshin Impact, disclaimer, good spoiler or notice or the fill interrupting. There's a video of the weapons from the forge that's over here in case anyone still has any doubts, analyzing each and every one of the weapons of the forge that can be obtained to see which. Well, it turns out that prototypes are obtained for free because each time the 4 creators talk about a free forging weapon and you say, but for free because if I don't have prototypes. And there's always the meme in the Genshin community that there are no prototypes and you can't get the bar. Reality is that today you can get a huge barbarity of free prototypes where not only in events and missions, but mainly in the trees of each nation, the cherry tree. Zacred of Inazuma, the so-called onion of Sumiru's ornaments, the NATLAN wheel, and so on. successively in the rest. Not Spin a Dragon, for example, gives you prototypes also in Monstar and Long, etc. You can get many prototypes Fontaine's Source as well. And you can get practically the weapons you want and for a free to play with everyone. Those prototypes you can literally choose practically unless you've wasted them. In things that are not worth the next tip, Blessing and Battle Pass are better than Tau. The packs, especially if you don't have him for 2, a Blessing gives you 3,000 Protogemas, 2,700. That are 90 for the 30 days of Blessing, plus the 300 crystals that you get when you buy it are 3,003. Blessings that are $15 are 9,000 crystals that are more than 50 wishes, just 3 blessings. More is, if we consider the pay of 15 gives you a little more than a multi when you have the 2, and when you don't have it for 2, it gives you 1,000 protogems. That isn't even a bag, and he pays 15. That is to say, the Blessing, 3 blessings, $15 gives you 9,000 protogemas that are more than 50 desires, and a more than 50 desires. $30 in blessings that are 6 lunar blessings that equal is for 6 months? What? You have to accumulate that. That's the difference, the immediacy or the time and patience of being able to get all this. Basically 6 blessings are 18,000 protogems that are more than R. 100 wishes. The pack of 100 with a for 2 just gives you 80 and peak desires, which is a pity, but. And I'm talking about the 5 for 2 pact. The 100 for 2 pact just gives you 50 wishes, which is less than 3 blesseds, which is less than the 100 without the 2 for 2, then $15 in blessings. As I say, the only difference is the patience to get the blessings, so if someone has spent money on crystals and never had the blessing, to ask you much better to have the blessing continuously. And don't be impulsive and say, no, I don't spend, but one day I'll give you the heat and spend a pack of 100 because you are losing protogemas and money in some. And the pass battle, more of the same. Just for $10 is not to see us the battle pass, but it gives you 10 other wishes, 5 of the permanent, which can be converted into sheets, and sheets can be more promotional and quantity desires. Absurd resources that give you included the Stammer Frost and the weapon of the battle pass. Of course, it's worth a lot more than any pact with or without it for 2, so have they you. This is very much because Genshin players don't know this kind of thing and never stop. Do the following math. There is a rate up in Genshin Impact, as in all the porridges that endole. It means this I explained in a previous video, but possibly do a new remake. I'll leave in the comments if you want a remake video of the rate up. Is basically a mechanics that what? They have all the porridge companies to rehoove people who see that for whatever it is they are. Losing interest in the game, or who has been long without playing, or who in one way or another need, again, that person's attention to get into the loop to become addicted to this. As how it works basically. If you're not throwing away the banner that's your main source of income, that you are free to play in the end, the banner is like your biggest incentive to continue playing the game. Throw out Rumadillas or Multis, or take out the character that you like. What they do is that if you carry without, throw away an absurd amount of time, they're gonna give you a boost in which you're going to practically win it. That you want very fast, and this always existed in all the porridges and mechanics to reconnect you. It's not in writing anywhere between this kind of thing and other things happening in the game, surely. Have to see these $20 million fines that you put to you for not being clear to. The time to explain to the players how all the mechanics of the white and bottled gacha work. But in Genshin it exists, and I is a mechanics that I take advantage of in the free to play continuously and continuously live. I have an exaggerated luck. Everything I say in many videos that I have Purina C2 Raiden C3, and Armak Shilonen, C2 Hutao, Kon Yelan Kon, and Aqua Shenhe, C2I. Don't know what else I have. A lot of things Mavuka Kon and Gun. I have what I want practically in the free to play is because I am in very long periods of 3 or more months without throwing away, and then when I shoot him, I get 3 or 4 multis coming up all fast. This is a mechanic for that fair. People imagine that someone else doesn't have a lot of interest in him, or she hasn't been playing for too long, or is playing, but he hasn't thrown in 3 months, and the one he throws on is very bad luck, and nothing comes out, and he loses 50-50 and goes to roll 90, is a person who is going to get frustrated in an obvious and objective way, and he's going to say he definitely quit the game. Though if this happens to a lot of people who get out. Quick, the character that once today my Chinese Mona, I gave him a Multis, came out just the one I wanted to be. He's going to be happy. He's going to grow that new character. He's going to start making routes around the map, the materials, and it's going to get back into the wheel and it's going to be hooked again. It's a very logical thing that have all the porridge in Genshin is not the first all the porridge have this kind of all that they don't explain to you, obviously, because it's a way, there is a subliminal way of rehooping you. Next, 100% of the maps is false, is fake. This I said in an earlier type, but here I'm going to explain it much more. 100% of the maps is fake, which means fake, which is lie, is a lie like the house. 100% of the maps means you have to say a percentage for. That anxiety is already taken away, and you think you're calm, you did the work on all the maps. There's between 25 and 50 chests above that 100% that you have, so go to specialized pages. And to the disk, the link below the description, ask for the number of chests of each zone, because they're going to tell you, for example at NATLAN on 5, I also made a video explaining everything. What was on the screen is going to see it, so you get 100% real on the 5 is. Say without the new area that there was at 5.2, i.e., only the initial area of 5 there is as. I think it was 408 chests in total, 408, 508. I don't remember exactly which one was the two, but many you will have 300 and little, 300 and 100%. You are missing 5 chests even after 100%, and those are proto games, so get really serious about this because it's a lot of banners. Next, the 8FS Frost on 5.5 is going to improve it. I don't know how high you're looking at this video, but I hope this video is one of the typical evergreens that succeed and stay over a long time. So surely you're watching this video in the future in another version, but remember that the cars will improve on 5.5. And not only that, but remember that Frost makes it easy to get items that is very complicated to get the item by. Statistical and more complicated probability of getting, you all know, are the chalices like this. That here I recommend that you save it and spend it mostly on chalices that do not. You can get for the rest of items to be patient and end up dating by next NG. If the path comes out, the path will not forgive you. If you catch the glow pulling Multis and turns out that you already had the insured, means that the capture of the glow is making you a spoiler. That you have double legendary if, gentlemen, if you catch the glow and you have assured. There's a legendary double because that capture of the glow is from the second promotion that is making sure since the first was insured. And it is impossible that you get a catch of the glow if you're insured because the capture is a warning that you've won. That 50-50 you had pending? So if you ever have insurance and comes out capture of the glow, pass next. This is something very nice that I have included and taught in several videos, but I always like to remember it, and it is that you can browse walls. There are very simple shapes by. Here you are looking at one of them where you can browse, let's say the normal limit of D in Genshin to enter a subworld where the game preloads and saves scenarios which do not all. You can come back from previous Archon or legendary missions or voices, and a lot more, or even simply being able, in this case, to reach places where technically you can only go once for. The story and there is no use, but how beautiful they are for you to throw away. Photos who like photography in Genshin Impact, and the good of these and how it is considered. Also, open world if you can put a portable TP of these that can be characterized. That I didn't know there's a portable TP around here. Basically, this serves to go to places, prices, where you can shoot or take pictures, but are very nice sights. Next, use Ludvar. If it is an advanced type for Genshin players, and it is not advertising, is really use Ludvar say. They're going to save a lot of money. 100 packs come out at 80 and little with what you buy a 100 pack. Normal in Genshin in Ludvar. You buy a pack of 100 and you have left for a blessing and a passive all. Battle for the same thing you spend normal questions, but if I have the 2 is if it comes to you. With a buy 2 to the game, obviously what's not going to happen is to get you a gift for 2 out of nowhere. But if you had it, you'll get with 2 Protomas to the game, and the same blessings on all. Time of 5 costs a little less, and each pack basically costs a little less. You go to save, and that's gonna make you do whatever you want with what you're left to buy at others. Game, save spending what you want, but above all, use the fun because they are going to save money. Next, this is very good Aki's, as it does not sneeze false alarm if it sneezes with delay and delay. Next, unpack everything once every 1 or 2 months on your account, and here one will be thinking he's not panicking, saying how to unpack with the mess I have for that. Zymid disequilibrating everything once every 1 or 2 months is one of the best and most advanced tips that I'm going to be able to give in this video, and that's going to make you reorganize your characters that everyone will improve, that you apply all the knowledge you have acquired during those months, because Genshin luckily is always a game where there is constant learning and always go out. Players and new characters, and also new players, I mean that there are people testing continuously, because the game keeps growing things and it's always going to be interesting new. Or above all, that you applied new ways of understanding and building the characters, or even try, and not only that, but you happen many times surely that you build endless badly built things and 1 character per epocho with 3 other items with good items and 3 bad ones half there. That is a project that you will say good when I get out this watch I put on, and maybe I'll set it up and you've got everything upside down and you don't even know what you have if you de-equip everything once every 2 months and re-equip it, taking into account priorities. Better characters, and instead of equipping 20 things you only equip 10-12 characters, and if anything you focus 1 at a time on each of the new characters you want to build your account to give an incredible upgrade. Next, this is one that I'm sure you've seen and people ask me. I don't do it the truth because I feel like it breaks the gaming experience a little bit, but I've seen many people who serve him that is useful to him, and I will explain it so that you know what this is that you see. Who do many people in the abyss who are fighting and suddenly open the map or open the guide? Traveler, and stay a moment still and then keep fighting and say what makes you're doing you, because you do that weird thing. Well. This is basically because if you do this, you're going to catch the particles without losing seconds of the abyss, i.e. when you have an elemental and you generate particles, those seconds from when particles are generated until they reach you. To have Otis are 2 seconds that you lose, and if you throw the elemental and open the guide of the traveler or the map, the particles come to you, because by the programming of the game, if you pause the but don't pause, those particles come to you and you save yourself 2 seconds to be able to pull before the ulti. This is a minimally advanced technique, is as simple as I just explained. He has more if you've ever seen him and you've said, but he's doing this person because open the guide and stay a moment still is why you can apply it. I don't do it much because I think it breaks the experience a little lot when there are very complicated abysses of people who trade me. So easy. Next, rotate sets and weapons here in relation to many previous tips. This advice is very useful, and basically it is that if you have 2 characters that use the same set, you look for 2 equal sets unless they're characters that play together. Lan Yan and Xian Yun are going to shadow triple attack on many teams with substat recharge. Don't look for 2 equal sets. Rotate the set between Lan Yan and Xian Yun and ready Ganyu and Ayaka. Go within Permafrost with Winter Nomad in Permafrost teams, unless Ganyu plays to Latin, and they don't go on the same team using the same nomadic set. For both of us I do, and I'm very comfortable. Don't touch. Take up 2 equal sets for Ganyu, and for Ayaka, not a fucking Lan and Cryo with a critical proportion of the nomad set. Arlecchino and Chlorinde carry the same set, also only changes the chalice. Rotate the set between Arlecchino and Chlorinde, that some will say, but I just want to play a Arlecchino team and of Chlorinde, good, because there you have it complicated. But if you do not want to force play both, since you can play Arlecchino on one team and another, the 80 billion carries in Genshin Impact can rotate the set because they use the same set and thus infinite combinations, like the set of Golden Dreams or the Triple Mastery, and some more than basically. For example, Raiden Triple Mastery for Hyper Blue Mokuki use Triple Mastery Golden Dreams with recharge, so you can rotate the set and the guns more of the same, unless it's a very old situation in which you need the duplicate weapon for 2 characters. I recommend that the 5-star guns, the rotases, you're gonna do great, and you're gonna see that you can play a lot more characters and teams. The only thing would be find a button to change the whole set of one like the Y. It's basically very useful to rotate weapons and set instead of wanting to grow for many characters. Zymim next, whoever is free to play and is all day crying through the corners that there are no. I have no protogem, and I have no crystals, and I have no luxera of the screen. Give me Bendy, do not humble yourselves, do not go crying in the corners, nor say to me being there homeless of war. Social networks, because it looks a little ugly, the truth, and I know that some were skimpy, and I will say no. I've got shame already. It doesn't matter, but I don't feel sorry for you out there, but you can do it without having to. To reach those limits that look a little bad, to remember that most creators, a lot for you just to support us for free, so remember this is a little bit. Spam not like Ludvar, but it's been true for a long time that YouTube draws a blessing a day. For commenting on giving like and all this that I explained in the intro, but is that also in stream? I practically draw Bendy a day for coming to the stream, so come to the streams, and besides, I recently started to draw a weekly blessing on Twitter for following me on Twitter, so link down here, also in the description, and the dice is where all the links are, and follow me on Twitter and participate because there is a weekly blessing draw, and if you behave well and grow a lot, maybe I do one every 2 a week, or in the future one a day too, because you, the support that you give me allows me, and this is also a very big and very nice thing, and not all the world is able to give so much to the community, so instead of having those attitudes that are a little ugly, just support the free content and you can get lunar blessings. Free only for doing that next, if gentlemen in long the video, but very interesting next. Tip very advanced, and I told you that the best was for the end to be up to date with the links. I know that I know. There are people who say that don't link people who are official creators and put their networks here. You talk about links so much so, and also many people who, regardless of being creative or not, he always said he likes links more or less. You're right, and here I'm not saying either. Nothing good or bad about the two positions there are, but if I recommend you follow the links, mainly the part of which banners will come and which characters will always come out, remembering that the links are leaks and are subject to changes. That seems lie that after 4.5 years that we have to remember it, but it's better to remember it because there are still people who he takes it to heart and says so. If he says it's the way it is, then it wasn't like that. Let's make someone angry with someone mini, but follow the links, stay up to date. There are no things out there that make no sense. They're the same and they don't bring in the story or things like that, but especially the part like I say about the banners of the characters that can come and things that can affect you to save for your plans and not to have a bad experience in the game, mainly related to versions. More important, it's going to be very good for you to be up to date with what there's a great chance that, but always your link can change next. This is very important. This tip is going to change the way you see and play Genshin Impact, really force you not to do daily and resin once every 2 months if you pretend to be a 100% healthy player, I would say. Even that once a month, what happens here, many people would say to see makes sense, but if I don't do the daily or resin once a month and I'm free to play, it's going to affect me pretty much, because that little bit is good for me, it's true, but above all, it's for you to get rid of that routine. Infallible daily, that surely if you go playing more than 1 or 2 years to Genshin Impact and not wear and not fail the daily and the resin one day to this day, surely you feel bad it does not happen to you that. Some of you for work, because it came out, because it has plans, because life on that particular day it changed everything and you forget your daily, or you know it's going to end the day you didn't and you're there. I don't have to go into the cell phone or the PC or the Play or whatever. I'm gonna run out of my Proto Gem. If I'm free to pour that, if I have to take it off is a game. I always say it in the videos and don't remember, but as long as I say it to someone, it feels very well. And remember, and put your feet on the ground, remember that they are Chinese and real monkeys in any moment today. Uvers gives it a button and close servers, and you run out of your Mona Chinese, do not enter in that. Those strong loop routine force you not to make daily and resin several times a month. I do. There are days I rest and then I open stream the next day and people see that I've got resin cap and I didn't do the daily stuff, and we all make the joke of no, and we cry of joke and everything, but I do, and I do it a lot more than I'd like, and that's positive. You really break a loop and a cycle. Very important, and you are forced to feel good even though one day you do not make daily or resin, and that's gonna lead to you doing a lot more stuff in the game with your head and not having that much impulsivity and so much addiction to the next game, and are already the last, so prepare, do not play for anxiety, and do not play every wish, throw every 160 protos without even knowing what you have. What you don't have is what isn't coming. What doesn't just come from ludopaths. You are all the time, every time you have 160 protos, or scratching things to have 160 protos, and I explain to myself many people when their turn waifu arrives and sees that they do not give the wishes. He starts to do all the map of the coup, he starts to do the legendary ones, he starts to do the missions he gets. To do account he starts to make the content or watch videos like this, one gets many. Protogemas and he starts to do crazy things, and he does them by obligation. How many times you have not playing them wrong, doing a thing that doesn't feel like it's a job, and you're... Very toxic way that is not playing healthy. Play healthy, as I said in other videos, and you will remember it is do things little by little with constancy when you want to, but have everything more or less. Day what is goodly possible, the newest still cannot, but the ancients, and you have war. All day surely with all that is the quiet way to do all the above are practical. Quite serious, in fact, in which the game at the end tries to get you to make it out of that way to promote your impulsivity, and then along with that anxiety and impulsivity you take bad decisions and you end up throwing money in a non-volunteer way, but for that out of anxiety and I can remember that it is a game are pixels. There is a lot of toxicity, and today on social networks there are a lot of toxicity in the Guinean community due to certain practices of both gambling and people. That has too much emotional connection with the game, and with other things within the game avoid. All that I think everyone at the end of the day, despite the amount of things there are that you see. The days in networks and in the world in general just want to have peace and tranquility to get to your home. Be calm knowing that everything is within what fits well, and be able to sleep and have one more day of life the next day. And then there are people who have many more long-term projects. And it's even better if you see something that doesn't really agree with that tranquility and that community health, that we should try to work it out, and that tomorrow will be the community of Genshin Impact. Avoiding anything you see. You say my mother if a person on social networks talks more about others than about their own work. Stop following and even buttons. Never show me this again in life, and you're going to start getting away from things that don't bring anything. Neither you nor the Genshin community, but you're going to start having a better environment in which enjoy more of the game. You recover the hype that is sometimes lost in more boring versions, because there are people who always try to keep you up to date with the game and bring you things that will keep you with motivation and desire to enjoy the game. Try new teams, try new characters, understand a character, but then you don't pull it out, etc., and get away from everything that doesn't contribute. Not only the community of Genshin Impact, but today to the social networks in general. That is still a place with a lot to improve, and above all, that is a game that may make. One day it'll probably end, one day not soon for what it looks like, but give it less importance to the game is a game, and it seems like a joke that I have to explain this and give it so much emphasis. But their pixels don't take everything that happens with pixels so hard that now or you see this is done, that if now a problem or a fun with a creator, that if now such character. People who are a game, I never think any of us who are over 25-30 years old watching this video, you would expect everything that happens for a game to happen, but good happens. Try to put your bit of sand. I would really appreciate it for everything to be a little better, and within that is a game, at least everything that happens outside of being a game is positive and not the things we have to see every day. Little more. These are the 30 tips. Advanced so that you can enjoy Genshin Impact to the fullest and improve your infinite experience. Take care to have very good day. Don't be. And mini movie comes to the parallelogy. 40 minutes so in the comments. Rip editors, those that reach me to the end. Give a very fond of this video. If you still don't say the end, give it to Mike. Or leave a comment about everything. Giving support to editors because the video is long, and to thank them for their work, as it's not the same a 10-minute video as a 40-year-old, for example, is this, so I'd love to and love to. I'd appreciate it if you value my work as editors and a little bit more care to have very good day. Don't be mini and bye.